Hey, everybody, this is Dr. J, Professor Spike Kamal, and our special guest, Anthony, Gene Investing on X. I don't know what X is, but I do know what Twitter is. Are they the same thing, Anthony?
Yep.
You know, in my opinion, not that anybody cares about my opinion, Twitter was a much better company prior to Elon. But that's just my opinion.
You do have a lot of people just posting things to get little checks.
Right.
So there's some ulterior motives.
I used to be able to navigate it better, and now I can't even navigate. It's full of ads and junk. All right, so let's get down to business. You're my expert on everything gene editing. So I know there's a few people that might have more knowledge than you, and I mean only a few. You have to be a scientist to know more than Anthony when it comes to this field.
Well, yeah, I kind of wish I didn't know about the field for the last 2 years. But
it's a costly lesson, right?
Yeah.
It would be much better to invest in Fart Coin and Melania Coin, and
right.
You'd be doing a lot better not really thinking at all.
And my father used to say, "You're better off being lucky than smart." But
absolutely.
But I was going to say you could be right or you could be happy.
Yeah. So Anthony, maybe
that works only with wives.
Problem is you're too smart.
So this market does like to, help the people that aren't really thinking about anything.
Yeah. Just go with the promo.
That's true.
Tell me, how come Beam is doing relatively well compared to CRISPR and ntla and Prime?
Because I sold it. That's why. No, the real reason is they just had their sickle data around December, and it's best in class like we all expected, and it's better than the CRISPR data. And they have a really big alpha 1 data readout. That's the first time ever for in vivo base editing in humans, probably around May.
You know what? While you're talking, I'm going to show the chart for Beam. Because everyone loves charts around here.
Yeah, I like Beam. Others have just gotten really silly. I still think Beam's a good deal here.
Do you look at the charts for reference, or just pure fundamentals?
I mean, mostly fundamentals. I'll look for fun sometimes on the charts.
Well, this is a chart on Beam. Not that it looks wonderful, but over the last 6 months, it's clearly range bound. It looks like it turned into a pretty solid bottom here on 11.5, or actually a little earlier on 10.24. So we have a nice bottom on Beam. It's range bound, and at least it's not getting killed like ntla has. It looks like a middle of the trading range over the last 6 months. What do you think of it going forward?
I think the data is probably going to be good, and this market tends to like initial proof of concept more so than late stage data for some reason. But like we saw it with Wave. I don't know if you guys ever talked about Wave, the RNA editing company, but their market cap doubled from 1 billion to 2 billion when they showed initial first time data on a few patients. So
well, it gets people excited.
Yeah. So I think Beam, if you're a trader, it's a good spot here to play it for the they say first half. I think it might be around May, the alpha 1 readout.
What's the disease that the
alpha 1 antitrypsin?
I have no idea what that is.
it's a big indication. A lot of people have some pretty big peak estimates for it, and they're really the only competition they have is a couple RNA editing companies, Wave and like Coro.
I'm so ignorant of biotech space at this point. I don't even know these companies that you mentioned.
It's been the smart way to be. I wish I was ignorant of it.
I own Intelia. That's the only one that I own, and largely because I know it's your favorite. Why is why is it your favorite?
It becomes more my favorite every day because it's just at this point they could treat almost nobody and the stock would not go down, in terms of valuation in a few years. That's the valuation's getting so crazy. And you have some analysts, I don't know if you noticed, but I mentioned today that Morgan Stanley dropped their target from 56 to 11
On Intelia.
today. Yeah. I don't know how an analyst goes from 56 to 11 when nothing new happened in the last week or two, last month or so.
This is a beautiful downtrend. I mean, the downtrend is to be admired if you're short this stock.
That's not the feeling I get when I look at it. But yeah. So the reason why I'm so confident in it is because it's got 3 phase 3 in vivo CRISPR trials going, the only 3 on planet Earth. No one else has any. I don't know if all 3 are going to get approved before something like Beams gets approved, but they should have at least 2 FDA approvals before anyone else.
Has HAE been approved yet?
No, that's one of their phase 3 trials. That's the first one that's going to get approved. They're going to file a BLA next year. They should finish enrolling the trial this year.
So do they stand to make money on HAE?
HAE's a tricky one because it does have a lot of players and it's not the biggest. It's a solid market. I think I saw 2028, the estimation is a 5 billion market. So it's not tiny, but there are a lot of players in the space. But
we know our view is well aware of one of the competition. That is btc.x.
Yeah, BioCris, right? Yeah.
They have a large percentage of the market, I believe. It's a drug called Orladeyo, which reduces the need for transfusions and so on.
Mm-hmm. I think the future is going to be Pharvaris, which is a really solid pill that's just starting phase 3 trials, and Intelia. I think those
are you thinking that that CRISPR and Edit are dead ponies?
Edit's dead. Edit, I've been begging people to stop talking about for like 2 or 3 years because they had nothing. All they had was like a 4th place sickle cell program, which they got rid of because and now they have nothing. So yeah, it's cheap. I mean, just based on the fact that they might get a few patent payments or something. But I don't know. There's so many places in this market to buy. I don't know why anyone would waste time in that one.
Right.
But CRISPR.
I mean, it looks like it's forming another bear flag, yet another bear flag on its step down pattern. But hopefully, this is it. I mean, at any given time, it could just make a new high and show some life. I would say that it would be significant if Intelia took out the recent high on 1.7, which is 1334. That's a significant number to me. Very significant up here. Let me draw that in. So you think with some news, it has a chance to rebound to that level? That make me interested in even adding.
This year, the main things you'll see are like enrolling their pivotal trials. We'll get a HAE update, which is important, and we should get an ATTR update also at some point. So those are the main things, just how fast they can enroll the trials, because two of their trials are very small, like 50 patients and 60 patients. The other trial is 765 patients. So that one,
Which one is?
the big one is the cardiomyopathy.
Oh, okay. And what is that? A phase 2?
Well, all these are going to be phase 3s that they're enrolling now, but the data they're going to show is from their like phase 1, 2, their most recent prior to the pivotal.
How many people were cured of HAE so far?
How many people has like Intelia dosed and stuff?
Yes.
So HAE, it's not a huge amount of people that they've dosed. I think it was maybe like 10 in the phase 1, and phase 2 had like 20 something.
And how many
So,
of those did they claim to have cured?
So out of the relevant dose, because some of those patients were different doses, the pivotal dose is going to be 50 milligrams per kilogram, and that's 12 out of 15, 80%.
That's pretty.
Is the
That's
cure
pretty
rate.
good. That was 30%. What about the other 70%?
No, it's 80%. 12 out of 15, 80% is their current cure rate.
Oh, the 80% cure rate.
Yeah, 12 out of 15
That's better.
patients. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people are looking at that data update for HAE to see how the 3 patients that were still. It's a very tricky disease to do clinical trials on, because it's all up to the patient to decide if something's an attack or not, because none of the attacks that those 3 patients wrote down were visible attacks. Nothing that a doctor could definitively say was actually an attack or not.
Right.
So there's a lot of psychological, and it's a placebo trial, this phase 2. So they don't know that they're actually on the drug yet because it's still double blinded. So,
and you're saying that the future, it'll be a pill form in the future?
No, that's the competition, really. There's a lot of competition for HAE. But in my opinion, Pharvaris, it's PHVS, I believe, the ticker. That one has really good, very competitive data for pills, which in my opinion, I think you're going to want a pill or you're going to want a one-time cure. I wouldn't want to keep, injecting myself every month with a lot of the other competitors.
Right. And is there anything? How bad is the treatment regimen for a potential new patient?
For Intelia?
What for HAE? What do they have? What do they have to go through to get the cure?
Like for Intelia patients or for other patients?
For Intellia patients.
Oh, okay. So Intelia patients, it's a 2 to 4 hour one-time outpatient procedure in a hospital.
They're put to sleep?
I'm not sure about that. They haven't talked about, it's just, I don't think so. It's just, I've never heard that. So I would say 99.9% sure, no, you don't need it. It's just a infusion.
That's it, just a drip.
Yeah, it's just a drip. So there should be no going to sleep on that.
And the after effects?
There's been nothing serious. I mean, there's 1 or 2 patients had some like liver enzyme elevations, but they went away on their own within a few days. So, or within like a week or something. So it wasn't a big deal.
And what about the expense?
Yeah, I mean, that's the main question. And that's why, even though their drug appears the best right now, you really want it to be as differentiated as possible, because the upfront cost is going to be the most expensive, um, probably in the 2 million kind of ballpark.
Wow.
But you look at the leading prophylactic treatment right now from Takeda, and it's over 500,000 every single year.
I see. So it actually is not a bad deal, 2 million
That's-
once.
Yeah, now there's some other things that are cheaper, whatever, but I think someone Takeda, that's a big drug. It's called like Tecrazo or something. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. All eyes are going to be on how those 3 patients that didn't look cured are going to look on the next update.
Professor Spike, Kamal, any questions about
Well,
intelligence?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to get that follow up on CRISPR, only because you were
Oh,
talking about that.
yeah, I mean, right now, Ntla is my favorite just from a deep value play. It's a pretty straightforward company
Potential.
at this point, because they have these 3 pivotal trials and not much else behind it. So it's kind of like a possible M&A play, because it's a very straightforward acquisition, at this point. Like, do you want these 3 pivotal assets? So I think that's important. And I like Prime would be number 2. They're like the youngest, but they are really cheap right now, about $3 a share. I think it's under 400 million market cap, and that's Prime Editing. That's like CRISPR 3.0. They're going to have their first data mid-year, probably only on like 1 patient or 2 patients, but that could be a stock catalyst to see the first Prime Editing human trial. CRISPR, I think it's cheap here, but I like the other 3 more.
Well, it's
It
not
would,
dead like Edit, is what you're saying.
no, it's not dead.
In what respect is it cheaper?
Which one?
CRISPR. Didn't you say
Uh,
CRISPR is cheaper? I
I don't.
misunderstood. I thought
Yeah,
you
I'm not. No, I like the other 3 better.
right.
I like Ntla the most. Prime probably number 2 right now. Usually Beam's my number 2, but Beam's kind of price has done a little better lately, just from a value perspective. But those to me are the top 3, and kind of by a long big shot, but big amount. But CRISPR is really weighed down because Casgevy is such a slow grind.
It's been going down, but it looks like it put in a nice bottom, and it took out, at least it took out 1 high. It took out the high from 116. So at least I should show some life. It has a little bit of a run.
CRISPR has a big pipeline, so they do have things that could help support Casgevy. It's just hard when your first drug is such a slow ramp type of drug. I think it takes 6 months to actually get.
By no stretch of the imagination does it look cheap on the chart, but it doesn't look like a good buy on the chart, but it doesn't look like a terrible one. I could see it being played.
Yeah, it's.
Intellia from the chart looks more risky.
Yeah, because I mean, no one can look at the Ntla chart that goes straight down and love it.
No,
it just goes.
Gotta take out that high at $13 first.
Before I forget, when I posted this, I had one person comment on my repost of yours, and they wanted me to kind of say a couple things. They had a question, so let me just maybe comment real quick on that. Yeah, his name's Saboka from, I think he's from Sweden. He retweeted. I posted this Dr. What is it? Fontana. She's a key opinion leader in the space of ATR CM, and he just wanted some extra comments on that. Basically, they released really good data in November for ATR-CM. That's their biggest money-making opportunity. And they had like a lot of people are confused by the data because it was like 36 patients, and the median patient wasn't much different than other diseases. But their top whatever percentage of patients were a lot more severe. They had a lot more variant patients, which progress a lot faster. They had a lot more class 3 patients, which are a lot worse. NT-proBNP is like a blood biomarker to determine how bad your heart is functioning. And other trials only allowed people with like an 8,500 NT-proBNP, and they had someone with over 19,000 on their NT-proBNP, and that was the one patient that died. But the doctor, talked about how you wouldn't expect that patient to live 6 months on other treatments, and they lived about a year and a half. But yeah, they had 36 patients, and 35 of them were still alive with an 18-month median follow-up. The data looks the best across the board on pretty much every single metric, but people are just, for whatever reason, kind of discounting because, it's not that many patients. It's still a long way away. That's kind of what's happening to Intellia right now.
The heart program is their largest enrolled?
So they got HAE, which is 60 patients. That should be fully enrolled this year. Then they have ATTR polyneuropathy, which is 50 patients, and ATTR cardiomyopathy, which is 765 patients.
That's one of their largest.
Yeah, it's a very big. The reason why it's so much bigger is because the endpoints are all about like mortality and cardiovascular long-term like hospitalization rates and stuff like that. So
when would you expect top line data on that?
So that, that's part of the reason why the stocks suffered, because it's such a long trial. That one's probably like I think 2028 is when you're going to get that pivotal data for that.
Give or take a couple of years.
Well, that's what people are saying right now, 2020. So 3 years. HAE, you're going to get the pivotal data next year, and polyneuropathy probably 2027. I think they're going to get one each year probably.
2026 HAE, 2027 we're getting what?
Polyneuropathy.
And 2028 is the cardiomyopathy.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, time flies. You just put it away and forget about it and occasionally add.
Yeah. At this point, another thing he was mentioning is like why the execs aren't, buying shares, which is, I'm surprised at this point. I mean, the stock just recently got this cheap. I think it was basically double the price, in October.
That's when I first bought it at 20, I think.
Yes, and then it dropped 20% in one day thanks to the HAE. Everyone wanted 100% cure rate, and they only give you, if you count phase 1 and phase 2, it's 80% cure rate. So it's really remarkable right now how you have to be perfect.
This is the only one that you would have investments in at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like that until like when it was 20, I still had like half of money in Beam. So luckily I didn't get super killed in the last 3 months, but yeah, the last month or two has been pretty rough from probably
And
about from
you sold,
15 on.
sold Beam in the 20s to buy Intelia in the 20s.
No, I got Intelia with that money probably, maybe an average of 15-ish.
All right, so you're not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad, but
You expect it'll take you a few years before you start seeing profits?
yeah, I don't know. At this point, I would just like to see. It's going to be interesting how the stock reacts when they update the HAE data and when they update the other data this year. Uh, most analysts still have high price targets, but as we saw today, any analyst can come out and change the price from 56 to 11 overnight, which is it's crazy. I was really diving into the data to try to make sense of it because someone sent it to me, and they have Alnylam getting 17,000 patients for ATTR, and that's kind of grouped together polyneuropathy, which is a lot smaller, and cardiomyopathy, which is a lot bigger. So 17,000 patients for Alnylam, and they had 130 patients for Intelia. Now, it's not apples to apples because Alnylam's going to be, they're already approved for polyneuropathy. They made 1.25 billion last year. Cardiomyopathy, they have their PDUFA date in, I believe it's in March of this year. So they're going to be in the market and they're going to be able to ramp it, but their drug is not even, it's not close to Intelia's drug.
Does it tell you have enough cash runway to not need to go back to the market?
So they just did another headcount reduction. I can't remember, a month or two ago now, right before JPM. So I guess it was about a month ago. A 27% headcount reduction, and that extended their runway to like mid 2027. They say it's going to get them to commercialize their first HAE product. So, that's not in this environment for biotech. Roughly close to like 2.5 year runway.
They also have any? Do they have any partnerships?
Yeah, they do. The sad thing is, besides Regeneron's like a big partnership, but they haven't really done much with it outside of Regeneron does have 25% of the ATTR franchise, and Intelia has 75%. HAE, Intelia currently owns 100% of that. But besides that, they have Kyverna as a stock that some people like, and they have like a lupus program they're working on together, but that's not to clinic yet. Recode has a cystic fibrosis treatment that they're working with Intelia on, but that's not to clinic yet. And there's a few other things, but that's the problem with Intelia. The pipeline is really bare outside of these pivotal assets, but we're talking about like genetic medicine at this point, so these drugs should get approved unless if something really bad happens.
Do you see any possibility of a buyout before 27? Let's say.
It's really interesting because if I was someone like Regeneron, I would be trying to buy them out right now. Even if they didn't want the buyout, which I don't think Intelia would want to buy out at the lowest. Because
They might come in with a hostile takeover.
I mean, if I was Regeneron, I would do that because it's like they would, instead of only owning 25% of ATTR, they would, get the remaining 75% to own all of it and get HAE.
That's actually a problem for someone like you. It would be a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where I'm hoping the stock can recover to, at least like 20. Um, and then if a buyout came for 35, 40 or whatever, it's like I could live with that. Even if I only ended up about even or barely made any money, it's like as long as I didn't, you know,
Uh,
as long as I don't lose, I could live with that.
do you see any of the others being more likely to take over targets besides Intellia?
Well, if I owned big pharma, I would look into trying to get like Beam or Prime because they have so much potential. Prime can do more than anybody, but they have the lowest amount of money because they kind of came to IPO latest. They're like the newest technology. So they really need money so they can go attack a lot more diseases. Um, so those are possible. I don't know. It seems like those never get bought out, really early companies. Big Pharma doesn't seem to like to do that, but um, so it makes me think Intellia is the number one out of the big ones that I talk about.
This is a chart of Prime. No, it isn't. I said, what's the symbol on Prime?
PRME.
Okay, this is a chart of Prime, 1 year chart. It was
Yeah, I
as
mean,
high. It was as high as like double digits, and now it's trading really down to $3. I see what you're talking about.
yeah, it's under 400 million market cap. It's definitely something I would advise people that can just buy some and not look at it for 5 years. If you're that type of investor, very confident that it's going to be higher in 5 years. And it,
I
and
think
it,
I think our viewers are looking for something that'll pop sooner than that.
yeah,
This one might fit that bill also because it
it
seems.
could, because they're going to get their first ever human data mid-year. So
Yeah,
that could be a big,
I think this trading range that it's in, it could easily trade above it and
We're
create.
looking for stuff that's gonna pop this weekend, this Friday.
yeah, no, it looks like Prime and Beam are kind of middle of the year type of pops, but you could jot those down and keep them in mind for later on.
I think Prime is worth owning it in this interval between 250 and 350. Can average in and then look for a pop to a higher level, maybe as high as $5. If I were
Yeah,
playing, I would play it for a double.
So,
yeah,
Dr. J, the guys on the chat on the side, they're looking for counseling or assurance or something about after what happened today.
All right, we'll stop talking biotech. Anthony, you can stay free to stay with us while we're talking in video or hop off, whatever you prefer.
sure.
And we want to thank you for coming. And
Thank you.
yeah, and you're very
You're welcome.
extremely knowledgeable. I don't know if you're going to be bored if we talk about it in video or not, but you're more than welcome to stay. Or
NVIDIA people might not like me when I joke about, you know, it still being 3 trillion market cap
yeah,
because I know you bought some more today, and it's just not the type of space that I like to be
But
in.
they have a product. Their products are wanted. Everybody desire them, and they're profitable.
Yeah. To me, if you're gonna buy the big ones like Nvidia and stuff, you might as well just buy like S&P 500 because
Because
I
it's
just don't. At
anyway.
at this point, things like this are, in my opinion, more likely to happen to individual names. So at least you have less risk. You know, a lot of people were all in chips and they got bloodied today like a biotech investor gets bloodied every single week.
5% down was a typical number.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the easy money, in my opinion, has been made. I don't necessarily see NVIDIA going from 3 trillion to 30 trillion and timesing by 10 in the next, I don't know,
It's no longer
15
3
years.
trillion. That was yesterday.
But
So, Dr. J, what
yeah,
do you think happened today? Do you think this is just an overreaction? You think it's going to continue like this tomorrow?
I think
I think it's going to be a red Monday. You remember?
I don't believe the Chinese, so I'm buying.
Me too. I bought a lot today. I mean, a lot. I'm basically 100% invested as of today.
Really?
Yeah.
This was your shot.
With everything I got, I bought in today.
Right. Well, I'm wondering if this is not a head fake, but I got a little aggressive, but I'm still thinking this another in later on.
The second shoe is going to drop.
I might be wrong, but personally, I think that energy is taking too big a hit, just because this thing happened to work with less energy. That the desire for robotics and for quantum computing is going to go down just because somebody found a slightly better mousetrap for AI seems way overblown.
I don't. First of all, I don't believe anything that comes out of China in terms of news or data. They're probably using the H100 or a knockoff of the H100.
And not only that, but Bitcoin is not going to get any any more energy efficient just because of this technology.
Speaking of Bitcoin, I have the chart in front of us.
I mean, it's still expensive. That mining is still expensive.
I have the chart in front of us, and if you notice, with the chart, I drew this on yesterday, right? And it hit the downward trend line and bounced right up. Very encouraged by Bitcoin, the way it finished the day. And let's take a look at some of the others.
So to answer Andrew, yes, I bought lots of NVIDIA and Wulf today, and Serve and a few other things, but mainly NVIDIA and Wulf.
MicroStrategy is also straddling the bottom end of the channel. You see that?
I have a lot of it too.
Yeah, I added today. And probably
Oh,
will
with MicroStrategy hit as well.
Yesterday, I drew a line at 309. Recalls, Professor Spike? You asked me about that.
Yeah, I was asking whether or not MicroStrategy also took the same hit.
I think 309 is a good spot to add if it gets there. I've been adding anyway, a little bit at a time.
MicroStrategy went today barely a 1.5%.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think that was one of the part of the carnage,
Right.
part of the American carnage.
SPY today lost 1.5%. Not a big deal considering everything.
Not a big deal, no. I'm not worried, actually.
No, Wolf took 25% hit.
Yes, but I got a lot of it at a good deal.
It's up after hours.
That's good.
Yeah. And I see it. I see it getting back into this channel eventually. Hopefully not too long.
I have a question for you guys because I know you guys are mostly, well, I don't know, what percent would you say is tech for your investments?
Probably 80%. My portfolio. I rounded out with some finance. I have MasterCard. I rounded out with SPGI. I rounded out with TLT. A few, but 80% is probably tech.
Does biotech count as tech?
No.
No, that in the past we could say that, but I think we can't say that anymore.
Okay.
I'm about 20%, maybe 70% crypto and miners. I'm heavily.
I do have a nice chunk of crypto, but nothing near what I own in tech. So I'm basically, my portfolio is basically tech.
How much of your crypto is meme coins, and how much is like
Zero meme coins.
for Kamal?
So I have mainly MicroStrategy and Wolf.
That's
Honestly,
not enough pop.
that's the two I have the most of.
I own Bitcoin itself, MicroStrategy, and iBit. That's it. And Wolf. I just bought Wolf today. Most of my portfolio is Max 7.
So
Which is
what do you like? What do you like the best for the Mag 7? Like, what do you think's the best deal?
I have the most money in Amazon, so I guess I'd have to say Amazon.
Sounds like decent amount in Apple too, since it it covered your Nvidia loss.
Yeah, Apple was up today to stem my losses. I didn't lose hardly anything because Apple. It made up for the Nvidia loss today. In fact, I own more Apple than I do Nvidia.
So I know Dr. J really follows the charts on the biotech. Is that pretty much what Spike and Kamal do too? If they are going to get into a biotech, they kind of wait for it to start looking good on the charts.
You got to wait a long time for that to start looking for XBI to start looking good.
Yeah.
I'm still heavily invested in BCRX. I'm in the hole in it. I just left it. I don't do much with it. Tandem. I had a lot of Tandem. I sold half of it. That's basically what I have. I have Tandem. I have BCRX and LABU.
Okay, so why the BioCrystal? I know Dr. J's had that too. What was the reason? Was it just like chart related, or?
It was all a day, the promise of $1 billion blockbuster. The
Okay.
drug.
Right.
And also the bird flu type stuff, to have Paramavir.
I still believe it's going to be like $20. It's going to one day it's going to just shoot up to $20, 18 to 20.
They could be bought.
Yeah, that too.
I don't own any at this point, for disclosure.
For BioCrystal, I'm not familiar besides the HAE, but I think I'm obviously not. I'm impartial, but I think it's going to be Pharvaris with their pill or Intelia with the one and done. But I don't know. Maybe BioCrystal has some other stuff, but HAE I think is going to be won by the other two.
So the Wolf bounced off my bottom, that bottom that I drew on Monday, for whatever that's worth. If you look at the chart, I drew this on Monday. We hit it. I bought a little more, bounced up. And now, after hours 4:59, I'm looking forward for it to get back into this upper trend line, upper channel, ascending channel, whatever. Getting tongue tied, which means I'm getting tired. It's the wolfing hour for me. That hour for me. My Parkinson's acts up at around this time. So what else did people want to see?
They just wanted to get some assurances about what happened today.
Can't give assurances, but to me, I think this is not the better mousetrap in today's news. I think it's nonsense. But I can't know for sure. It's just my gut feeling.
Yeah. So basically, you're thinking it's an overreaction.
I think it's a buying up for everything.
I agree with that too, and I did buy a lot today, a lot,
including the creme de la creme, AVGO and NVIDIA. Buy both. Of course, my opinion is strictly my own, not investment advice, and so on. Anything you hear on this show is just what we do as traders. And Anthony's not giving investment advice either. He's just sharing his ideas. SMH is a good buy. Buy them all. Get a basket. XPI is very problematic, Anthony. It just doesn't move.
I don't like XPI because they've changed how it's weighted, and it's not really a true SMID bio follower anymore.
No, it isn't. And if you're waiting for that to break out, you're going to wait a long time.
ARC-G is a very interesting chart if you wanted to look at that.
Which one?
ARC-G. I know Kathy Wood is.
Is she still own it?
But
She still own Intellia?
Oh yeah, she has a lot.
This is a chart on XPI. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's just not good. I'd rather own IWM, which includes all the biotech.
Yeah, I like the. I'm not a chart expert, but I like the chart of the ARC-G.
I'll give it a look right now.
It's been coiled between like 23 and 27 for 9 months. And
I feel Kathy is buy her top three holdings in every category and be done with it. I don't think she's worth whatever she's charging as a fund manager.
Oh no, yeah, everyone always asks me what biotech index fund I tell people to buy, and I say honestly, find like 5 or 10 that you like and make your own basket, because it's hard enough to get winners. You don't want to pay fees on top of it.
She's well in a long-term trading range.
Yeah, I just like to look at our G just to get some sense of if we might break out on names like Intellia.
It's at the high end of the trading range, so either it breaks through finally, or it comes back down to 22.
Yeah,
you got to watch it here, because if it breaks through, maybe it's time to own it.
Yeah, I thought it broke through on Friday because it closed, I think, above 27, but then it came right back.
7, but still within the trading.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, it's got to come up to probably 29 before it gets interesting. I think the market is going to melt up for the next few months. So buy almost anything. That's why Intellia is not on people's radar, because there's so many other juicier things that look like you can take immediate profits make immediate profits.
Yeah, I do feel like a lot of the meme coins and crypto in general has taken a lot of investment from biotech, because biotech used to be more of the gamblers' arena, and
I think crypto has taken a lot from the gold bugs too.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
All right, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for coming, Anthony. You got to come back more often. Kamal, thank you for coming. Thank our visitors for today. So some came because of you, Anthony.
So let's go over Tesla next time, okay?
You got it. Next time, Tesla. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.